Hello and welcome to the Alpha Software Demo and Q&A webcast. I'm Dave McCormick, VP of Product Management here at Alpha Software. And today we have a presentation for you, although it is a short one. And it is a short presentation because we are gearing up for the Alpha Developers Day coming up on November 9th. So let me tell you a little bit about that. But before I begin, I just want to make sure that you can hear my voice and that you can see my screen. You should be seeing looks like a join us at the Premier Virtual Event up at the top. Okay, perfect. Thanks very much. So Alpha Developers Day, we've done developers conferences in the past. This year, it's just one day, but it is free of charge, and we have packed it with all kinds of great things. If you have not yet signed up and you would like to, just go to alphasoftware.com/devday, DEVDAY 2023, and click the register button, and we will make sure that you are on our list. It's going to be a virtual event hosted, I believe it starts at around 9 a.m. on November 9th, but you will get a schedule shortly. One of the things that we're talking about during our Developers Day is going to be progressive web applications. And I know that that's something that a lot of people have had interest in. We spoke about it 2 years before, but we've made some more progress on it. So let's actually pop over to the release notes, because that's kind of what I wanted to take a look at today. So let me go over to our pre-release notes. And I'll go ahead and make that full screen. Okay. So here are our pre-release notes. You can always find them at, actually, if you do a Google search for Alpha Anywhere release notes, you will find them there. Right up here, when you get to the top of the release notes section, this is the nightly release notes, but when you get to the top of this section, there is a link which will take you into here so that you could take a look at the nightly release. The nightly release is a beta version of Alpha Anywhere. It is not yet considered to be a stable build, but it is a good way to take a look and preview some of the new features that are coming out, and a bunch of them happen to go along with these progressive web application things as well. So let me go ahead here and, oops, sorry, wrong link. Release notes. Oh, I'll just keep going back. I know it's in my stack here. Okay. Here, and then, oh my gosh, what have I done? Thank you. This is a problem with webinars. Like, stuff I can see normally all of a sudden become invisible. So it's funny. There we go. So this is not a production release. A production release will be on its way shortly. So, and I'll let you know when that will happen. But I want to go over a couple of the features today. I'm not going to cover progressive web applications, but we are going to cover that during Developer Day. There's also notes about it in the nightly release with a whole bunch of videos, some examples. I think there's some sample components as well. So you'll probably want to go and take a look at that if you find that interesting, or you can just wait about a couple weeks and we will demonstrate it to you. But one feature I wanted to talk about today was the Spreadsheet Control. Let me just pop back over to my PowerPoint. So the Spreadsheet Control is not a new control. The Spreadsheet Control is a control that lives in the UX component, much like you have a text box or a date picker or something like that. The Spreadsheet Control is a data control that gives back a JSON, formatted JSON string that contains data as it would be represented in a spreadsheet. What's kind of cool about this is, so this, like I said, this feature isn't new, but we have added a couple of improvements to it. Specifically, we've added the ability to dynamically add columns. So you can use JavaScript basically to change the structure of the spreadsheet on the fly. And that allows us to do something like this, have this plus button here that will allow you to add additional columns. You can also, if you're doing a spreadsheet that's going to go against, say, a SQL data source, this control now knows whether or not particular rows are dirty. So you can update just the records that you're interested in. So that's really good when you're handling large amounts of data. And speaking of handling large amounts of data, rows can also now be virtualized so that the bar here on the side gives you a little preview as to what the records are, but it only loads, say, 10 or 15 at a time, saving you basically greatly improving speed and decreasing the amount of data that needs to get transferred. So let's take a look at those features. Right now, we're going to go into Alpha Anywhere here over on my Windows machine. And in the release notes, you are going to find, maybe I'll just pop back over this so I can show it to you. You're going to find some information about this spreadsheet control. Let me just do a quick search. There we go. And one of the things you can do is you can download the component and use it in Alpha Anywhere. Just a quick note, it's not going to work in tonight's nightly build, but it'll probably work in the following one. We did have to make an update, but I wanted to demonstrate what it did because I think this is a cool control that you will enjoy using. So let's pop back over into Alpha Anywhere and let's take a look at the designer. So here's the sample component that I got from the nightly release notes. And you'll see in it, I've got a spreadsheet control, but we also have two other controls here. One's called CSV and one is called JSON. When I run this, this is what happens. It starts out first of all with defaulting to just one column. And here I can put in something else, but I can also add another column if I wanted to. Let's say I wanted to make this say last name. Okay, and this was, I don't know, email address. All right. Now I can add as many rows as I want to as well. So let's say it was Smith and Tom Smith at example.com. And what's kind of cool is once I have things in here, I can actually, I think it lets you, it lets you actually resize this control, which is neat. And it lets you reorder the columns, which is also cool. I think I have to drag that a little further in order for that to work though. There it goes. All right, pretty neat. But the other thing it does is it lets you quickly convert it into different format types. So this is CSV, but you're looking at it. Oops, this is CSV. You're looking at it here. And this is JSON. And I just inserted some sample data by clicking these examples here. So that's pretty cool, I think. It's kind of the feature that I wanted to show you. But let me show you this feature actually in action, because we are beginning to build out a feature that's still in alpha, but for alpha transform, which uses this exact control. And it's used in something called the on-device assets genie. So just a quick bit of preview. On-device assets are something in transform and are files that are placed up on somewhere on a bucket, usually an S3 bucket. And when a person is using Alpha Transform and they log in, it goes and checks to see whether or not these assets are available. If they are, they download the assets to the device and they get stored on the user's device. What that means is that they're available offline. So for example, if you wanted to send a technician out in the field and you wanted to send them along with a repair manual or reference guides or things like that, they wouldn't need to have an internet connection in order to be able to access that material. They could look at the PDF right from their account. Now to set up on-device assets, there are a couple different types of on-device assets. They're the kind of standard file types like the PDFs and the PNGs and JPEGs and things like that. But one of the other types is a SQLite database. So using this new Genie, we actually have the ability to create new SQLite databases. So don't pay too much attention to the format of the screen. It's certainly not going to look like this when it comes out, but this is just what we're doing right now as an experiment. But if this looks familiar, it should. The Spreadsheet View, CSV View, and Json View. These are the ones, this is just like the example that we saw. And what this lets you do in this particular example is I can, go ahead and refresh what's in my list here. Oops, let me scroll up. There we go. Is I can say I would like to create a new CSV file. So I'm going to click new, and then I'm going to, and it just basically creates another one, and I'm going to type in my spreadsheet view. My first new column is going to be, let's just say first name. And my next one is going to be last name. All right, and then we're gonna maybe populate it. So Dave at example.com. So at this point, after I click Save Changes, I give this a new CSV file name. So I'm going to call that contacts. I may have already had a contacts. We'll call it contacts2. And then just by clicking Prepare on Device Data, it takes the data that I have created here and actually puts it into a SQLite database and uploads it to S3. So for those of you who have used SQLite databases with Alpha Transform, I think you can appreciate how much quicker and easier this is than doing it the old way, which required you actually to go into Alpha Anywhere and use that to set up your databases. So that's something I want to show off that was pretty cool. And the last thing I wanted to show off was another feature which has to do with SQLite databases, and that is the ability to import Excel data into them. So that is a new feature, and you can find that right here when you're in the Web Projects control panel. We're going to go up to Tools, and we're going to move down to Import Excel file into SQL tables or SQL database file. And now you have an option here for a SQL database file. You just simply specify the name. So it may be the Northwind table, for example, and then whatever the Excel file is on your hard drive, and it will import the data, which is a great way to get excuse me, it's a great way to get a head start when you need sample data for your projects. So that is about all we're going to do today. I think I said it was a short session. Thanks for showing up. We're not going to meet next week, but again, November 9th. Very much looking forward to seeing you all there. Let's see if we have any questions, though, before we go. Just pop over to the webinar and take a look. Meeting. Oops, let me get out of this view. Come on. There we go. Now it opened up. Sometimes the thing is a little. Can you import an external spreadsheet into the Spreadsheet Control? There is a way to do that using XBasic functions. Do take a look in the release notes, the nightly release notes, and I think that there is an example then. If not, shoot us over an email and we'll send you back an example of how to do that. So the Firestore utilities, I think we will have an update. Someone's asking about the Firestore utilities, which I believe we talked about, I think as long ago or as recently as 2 years ago. So we should have an update for you definitely by DevDay. And as far as the agenda, you should get the agenda probably about a week before the development day. That'll give you the hours and who's presenting exactly and what time it starts. But it's basically going to be, I believe, like a 9 to 5 Eastern time sort of thing, but you'll see a complete schedule. And this, of course, will be recorded, so you'll be able to go back and review sessions that you've found interesting. Also, DevDay will feature some breakout sessions, so you can talk directly to our programmers if you'd like to. That looks like it. So thank you very much, everyone who everyone who showed up today for our Alpha Software Demo and Q&A webcast. If you do have future questions or more questions, send them to guides, GUIDES @alphasoftware.com. And I look forward to seeing you at the Alpha Software Developers Day. Take care. Bye-bye.